Hello, friends. I welcome you all to my YouTube channel, Study of Political Science, which I acronym as SPS Online Classes. So, this is me, Tilak Raj Sharma, Research Scholar, Department of Political Science, University of Jammu. Before starting today's lecture, first of all, I would like to thank you, all of you, and to thanks a lot because of your huge support and the personal calls which I am getting, and for your huge appreciation and motivation. So I'll be indebted and grateful for your constant support even in future. So before starting today's lecture, I would like to go before the go for the first lecture, which was on the meaning and the scope of political science. When we were talking about the meaning of political science, so we tried to define the subject first in classical sense, then in the modern or the contemporary sense. When we were talking about the classical sense, so we defined the subject with the assistance of state, government, and the society, because the subject was having a central theme, that it was defined as the study of state and its working agency, which is government, and their relation with the society. But when we were talking about the contemporary or the modern view of the subject, so we have seen that the state was being replaced by the man now, and whole of the subject was revolving around the man and its activities and its behavior, that how people are behaving and what they are expecting. So but in in this period also, the state remain one of the significant aspect of the study. So when we are talking about the nature of political science, so the nature of political science is again a very complex, which actually forced me to make a separate video on the nature of the subject. So without wasting any time, I would like to start that the first slide says the politics is not merely the institution of governance, but it is also the mechanism for achieving societal goals. Now, please understand that when we are talking about the traditional viewpoint, that it was this, we covered in traditional sense that politics is the study of the institution of governance, or the government or the state. But now again a change in its nature came when we say that politics is also a mechanism of achieving the societal goals. Now man is an inherent part of the society, and actually the society came into existence because of the people living in group. So the nature, actually, that how the subject is ought to behave and how it is behaving, starts from this angle only. Now the second slide says that political science is thus the study of state in the past, present, and future. So I said that it is one of the state is one of the significant aspect of the study. So it is a study of state. It is the study of state in past, present, and in future also, but that too in relation with the man. Again, it is the study of political organizations, institutions, processes, functions, and various theories, like we were talking. Now, when we talk about the nature of political science in specific, so two question emerges, or two aspect came into being. First, that political science is a science. Again, it's a question whether it's a science, then how it is a science. And some political scientists viewed it as not a science. Then how it is not a science? So let's debate. First, I will be dealing with how political science is a science. So, guys, before starting this slide, like how it is a science. I want you to make, to understand the period of transition, because it is actually the problem came and emerged in the subject, which is termed as the fact value dichotomy. Now, what is fact and what is value? When we are talking about fact, this simply means what it is, है ना? Fact simply means what it is. Means 2 plus 2 is 4, that's a fact. But when we say the value simply means what ought to be, मतलब क्या हो सकता है ना, ऐसा हुआ होगा, the conclusion of which is not definite, is the value. So prior to the 1950, when our subject witnessed a revolution called behavioralism, so our subject was being dominated by value laden studies, value orientation, which means the results of the subject, the results of the research was ought to be like value oriented. We were not so dis- decided to the facts, and we cannot make such a predictions. But when came the revolution of behavioralism, so and particularly under the influence of positivism, which actually the subject of sociology witnessed under Auguste Comte. So under the influence of positivism and the constant challenges which the subject of political science was facing during First World War, during Second World War, we were forced to initiate a revolution for the revival of the subject called behavioralism. Now, behavioralism paved way to have a change in its methodology. When we're talking about methodology, earlier we were totally based upon the value orientation, but now our studies under behavioralism became more and more scientific. So we were bound to adopt the scientific methodology in the subject, and it's because of that scientific methodology the nature of the subject has witnessed a paradigm shift. So how it became a science now, and how the subject claims that we are a science? Because the first, that politics can be studied in a systematic manner, because systematization is the first principle of science. So when we talk about that the politics can also be studied in a systematic manner, so we can claim that it's a science. Second, it is said that experimentation is possible in politics. So we have witnessed various experimental studies, like if we talk about the political anthropology. So the anthropologists are doing what? They are visiting the field, collecting the data, analyzing that, generalizing it, and interpreting it. So all the scientific methodologies we have adopted, and the experimentation we are doing is possible in politics and the political science. Third, the political science, like other sciences, has absolute and universal laws. You know, we have studied in our subjects that how political science has certain fixed laws which are universally applicable, and how they are absolute. So suppose, like if an organization, an association, or an individual, or a state is behaving in one aspect during a particular time, can also be expected to behave very mechanically and in a very artificial way in another given situation, a similar kind of situation. So we can say that our subject has some absolute and universal laws. Then the fourth point is, it is possible to make prediction in politics, but this is a bit confusing because of the nature of the subject. But yes, it is possible to predict and make predictions in politics too. So When we talk about the 2 plus 2 is 4, and we can predict that it always will be 4. So I would like to say that the predictions are possible in political science. So now the second aspect, that politics is not considered as a science, and I'll be starting with the first one. But before that, I would like to mention again the phase of transition. See, the beauty of the subject depends upon its value orientation, because it is directly dealing with the human behavior, that how human behavior is ought to behave and how it is behaving. Now if we talk about the behavior of a person, you cannot easily predict that. And similarly, like these human behavior, there are other aspects of the subjects also which you cannot easily predict. So the beauty of the subject, the our subject, which is we call the political science, the beauty of it is that it is able to understand those phenomena also. So I'm starting with that politics has no absolute and universal laws like physical and exact social science, exact sciences. Now the claim which the supporter of scientific methodology in the subject of political science claims that politics, or the study of political science, has certain absolute and universal laws. But that claim was refuted by the people who are supporting that political science is not a science, it is actually a social science or a subject of humanity. So, second, it does not observe the theory of cause effect relationship. Now, let's talk about the cause and effect relationship. This is actually a matter of academic debate and discourse, that whether we apply the cause and effect relationship in political science or not, whether we can make certain hypothetical conditions to predict it. So let's start with cause and effect relationship. See, cause and effect relationship is the basis of the sciences, because you have to make certain hypothetical conditions, then try to make the variable 1 or variable a, and try to find out its effect during the course of your studies. But can it be possible in the field of, in the realm of social science? most of the people most of the people who are saying that social science is that political science is not a science, are actually denying this fact, that this cause effect relationship is actually not possible in the subject of political science. Third, the subject of political science has not yet developed in steady, regular, and continuous manner. Yes, this is true, because from very beginning to 1953, when we faced the great revolution in the subject called behavioralism, and in 1969 the post behavioral revolution, we were actually lacking from beginning to this date the constant change and a continuous developed process and the development of the subject. So we actually were unable to face the level of development. So that this claim is also true, that sciences are actually developed, but our social science and political science was unable to face that challenge of change and its continuous development. Now the fourth one, scientific method of observation experimentation cannot be applied to politics. Now this is also true, and their claim is okay. When we talk about the observation, experimentation, systematization, and generalization, so these are basically the methods and instruments of the sciences, which they actually applied while making some research. So if we talk about the observation experimentation in the field of political science and the politics, now this observation and experimentation is simply not possible in the field of subject. Why it is not possible? Because we have to deal with the society at large, we have to deal with the nation states, we have to deal with the political organization, political behavior, political institutions. We cannot sit within room or within a small place to make experimentation, then observation, and then generalization, and given and finally the theory building. So these aspects are not possible in the field of science. So I am making a debate whether it is a science or whether it is a social science. Let's go to next slide. Now, in the conclusory part, the thing we have discussed earlier, the fact value dichotomy in the subject of political science is actually a matter of academic discourse and debate, and the constant debate is going on whether we will be fact oriented or we will go towards the scientific methodology, whether we are supposed to adopt the value orientation of the subject, give the value orientation to the subject. So fact value dichotomy from 1969 onward till now is a concern of academic debate. So I will be concluding this while referring to the field of and to another great revolution called this post behavioralism. So when we have actually started behavioralism, so from 1953 to 69, we have seen that the subject of political science has witnessed, a complete paradigm shift of the scientific methodology, and the beauty of the subject was being changed, totally changed and neglected, and we became so much scientific and mechanical. So the political scientists of that period, under the chairmanship of David Easton, again started to rethink about why to go, and making certain questions like why to go for scientific methodology. And again, because the subject has its own beauty of being a part of social sciences, so can we make our subject a social science, not a pure physical science? So they have started making the studies of political science under the realm of, and by while combining both facts and value together, so that our findings, so that our observations may not simply and easily what we call rejected, and beauty of the subject be maintained. So in the last, what I will be recommending, and what I will be suggesting, that this is an academic discourse, this is a matter of constant debate, that whether we will be changing or not changing. But one thing we need to make clear in mind, that the studies of political science and the subject of political science is not easy to decide, not easy to define. Why? Because its nature, which is actually the today's topic, is changing day by day, and this nature is also changing. First, we have seen its nature was totally value orientation, and our subject was totally value based. Then we have seen a paradigm shift while adopting the scientific methodology under the impact of positivism. We started a behavioral movement. Then again, we came with the combination of both fact and value, and its dichotomy is continuous even today. So I'll be concluding by this only. Kindly subscribe my YouTube channel, and I'll be thankful for your encouragement and motivation. Please bear with me, and if you have any queries, I'll be posting my cell number and contact number in the description box. Kindly encourage me and motivate me. Please share and subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you so much.